A startling discovery poses a disturbing dilemma.
It's us or them. We have to destroy it.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A microscopic universe threatens the station.
2 minutes, this thing is going to expand.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. An empire forged by treachery and deceit
My advice is to lock up the silverware.
I'm already on it.
is about to unveil its master plan.
Our word can be our bond until we decide to break it.
First, they will choose a new leader. Then, they'll take over the galaxy.
When in doubt, be ruthless.
How touching.
On the next episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. An empire forged by treachery
My advice is to lock up the silverware.
I'm already on it.
is taking over the galaxy.
When in doubt, be ruthless.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A powerful empire is taking over.
When in doubt, be ruthless.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Prepare for an unforgettable hour of television.
God, that's him. Oh, Kirk.
An historic encounter between two legendary crews.
He's so much more handsome in person.
Together in one of Star Trek's most beloved adventures.
They are detestable creatures.
This celebrate an extraordinary event you'll have to see to believe.
Too much, Father.
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Prepare for an unforgettable hour of television.
God, that's him. Oh, Kirk.
An historic encounter between two crews.
He's so much more handsome in person.
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Two legendary crews, one historic encounter. On a special Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Weapon of mass destruction.
Help me.
So small it can't be seen.
The Jem'Hadar destroyed our world.
So deadly it can't be stopped.
We're all born with it. We all die from it.
When an entire civilization is marked for death,
There is no cure. The Dominion made sure of that.
time
2 Jem'Hadar ships headed this way.
is running out.
Shut everything down, now!
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A weapon of mass destruction
Help me.
marks an entire civilization
There is no cure. The Dominion made sure of that.
for death. On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. An entire civilization is marked for death.
We're all born with it. We all die from it.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A hopeless rescue.
It's 6 years since Aravanok disappeared. Odds are everyone on board is dead.
A hidden agenda.
If my daughter is still alive, I have no choice but to kill her.
A buried past.
If you hurt that girl, I'll kill you.
Now a deadly hunt begins.
Duet!
And Kira is the child's only hope.
Father?
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A hopeless rescue
If my daughter is still alive, I have no choice but to kill her.
begins a deadly hunt.
Duet!
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A deadly hunt begins
If you hurt that girl, I'll kill you.
on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Time in the shadows of war.
Your mission is to gather data about the Romulan leadership.
Allies become enemies,
I can't trust anybody.
and espionage turns to murder.
These are not nice people we're dealing with.
But for Dr. Bashir, going undercover
Remember, this isn't a game.
is a matter of life
We have to warn them.
and death.
This can be painful or not. That's up to you, Doctor.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. In the shadows of war,
Remember, this isn't a game.
allies become enemies,
I can't trust anybody.
and espionage turns to murder on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. In the shadows of war, espionage turns to murder
I can't trust anybody.
on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A Ferengi without prophet
You rewrote the rules of acquisition. I hope you like them.
is no Ferengi at all.
Greed is dead. There's nothing beyond greed.
Has Quark's leader gone mad?
There's something deeply wrong with him. I like you.
The Ferengi future is in total chaos.
Only money. He's sick, I tell you.
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Has Quark's leader gone mad?
Something deeply wrong with him. Only money.
The Ferengi future is in total chaos.
How can I help you?
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Has Quark's leader gone mad?
Only money. There has to be some explanation.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A Cardassian doomsday device
Your attempt to seize control of this facility is going to fail.
triggers a countdown to destruction.
I can't override it.
If you do not regain control, the station will be destroyed.
And the more the crew tries to escape,
We're completely cut off from the rest of the station.
the closer they come to oblivion.
We got about 10 minutes before the main reactor core overloads and destroys the station.
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A Cardassian doomsday device
Your attempt to seize control of this facility is going to fail.
triggers a countdown to destruction.
I can't override it.
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A Cardassian doomsday device triggers a countdown to destruction on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Winners of war.
Victory is life!
No hope of survival.
It's time. I'm ready.
In the Federation's fiercest conflict,
There sure are a lot of them. Shields up. Power to phasers.
the final victory
Today is a good day to die.
will be decided by a single confrontation
Weapons ready.
on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The Federation's fiercest conflict
Power to phasers.
will be decided
It's time. I'm ready.
by a single confrontation on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Prisoners of war, one hope at survival
It's time. I'm ready.
on the next.
sets down, we could do like a new Trek overview of all the series kind of thing. I don't know if you guys are interested.
That's
in
possible. Yeah.
I know you did. I know you did some of that with the SDA, but
I think once we get past the. Oh, hello everyone, by the way. Once we get past Star Trek Academy Season 2 and Strange Worlds, yeah, we could do a big end of Kurtzman review.
There's no way this channel lasts another 2 years. Don't
You've been saying that for 6 years now.
Now or never.
You tried to kill it 6 months in with the drunk stream, and that didn't hold.
Dude, that was like our most successful stream to date.
Hello, everyone. We are back. We are watching some Duet, the Armin Maritza War Crimes episode. So, guys, get your Geneva Conventions out. We're going to be watching this. Dan, this is your pick. This is one of your draft choices. So, no, don't let us interrupt. You're welcome over time.
Yeah, I figured it would be a good pick because what better way to bore our audiences to death than to watch 4 people sitting in rooms watching a show about 2 people sitting in a room. So yes, this is the Duet is where I fell in love in the original watch through while it was live on TV of Deep Space Nine. I didn't quite know where they were going. I thought Kira's character had a little bit too hard of an edge, and I thought that things were a little bit too next generation-y, and I was really looking forward to something different. And man, this episode gave it to me back in the day. Even as a kid, this episode gripped me, and it gave me a lot to think about. We hadn't had our unit, I guess, on World War II yet in school, so I kind of got a little bit of preview of things to come there. I'm really looking forward to just paying a little bit more close attention to the dialogue here, and of course enjoying the performances of the late Harris Yulin and of course Nana Visitor. So yeah, looking forward to watching it with you guys.
So we need to have 8 people watching us, 4 people watching 2 people, and then we need to have 16 people watching those 8.
That'll be the charity stream. Yeah.
Yes, we'll find 8 randoms.
Everybody subscribe right now.
Yeah.
We actually have 3 people in chat, right? So yeah, hey, you're retired. Wish it was a wolf, and drinking Canar with Tamar, my favorite.
Don't say anything, Stars.
We finally made it.
I was excited till I found out, and then I DM'd Idle. I'm like, wait a minute, that's just Stars. I don't have to listen to anything he says in chat anymore.
I only use it to talk to the people in chat.
Okay, shall we watch a trailer? I think this is a multi-trailer. I don't know. It's maybe 2 or 3. I'm not sure, but we'll see. So let's kick it off. Here we go.
This would be a hard one to do.
He commanded a forced labor camp.
Enhance.
Cry for justice.
Well, this is where they get a picture around a corner, isn't it?
The Cardassian.
But only one will stand against him.
Look at the hate in her eyes.
The war is over.
How many Cardassians did you kill?
We had no choice.
But Kira's battle has just begun.
He was there. He did it.
That John.
On the next episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Wow. No club music. No club music.
They spoil the ending in that trailer.
They pretty much do. Oh, that's quite. I think this is a 3-fer. So awesome. So.
I'm gonna go with Harris's big dopey grin near the end of that trailer.
Yeah.
This is a really bad trailer. Like, I know
They
this
should
is
go from
inherently.
they should go from Kira's look at the hate in his eyes to his big smile. That's the cut that they need to make.
Yeah, that should be what it is.
I think it's good. I think it might go with the slow motion man going, into the
stabbing. Yeah, it's the only action in the whole episode.
I think I'm gonna go with how many Cardassians did you kill? I think that's a good one. I think that's
all right.
Let's see dramatic for a trailer.
Let's see what the next one does.
Is he a criminal?
He was there. He did it.
Or a scapegoat?
It's not the
Slow
truth
John.
you're interested in. All you want is vengeance.
They'll sentence you to death.
Oh, different.
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space
No,
Nine.
it's totally the knife, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably.
Backing into a corner though, that was interesting. They put that in.
Yeah, that added new scenes.
Yeah. Maybe this is just like.
They don't usually do that.
Maybe this is like alternate credits. Well, the whole game's irrelevant then. Let's carry on.
Is he a criminal or a scapegoat?
They'll sentence you to death.
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
My bad.
There might be a 4th one here. I think there's a 4th one.
Oh my god. It's just gonna be a knife, isn't it?
Good value.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
They just kept cutting the closer and closer.
That is such a these trailers, man. Like I know that trailers nowadays show you too much. This is just like the worst of all worlds.
Dun dun dun, dun dun dun.
Mr. Wolf. Pre-rating. Dan, what are you going for?
So going in knowing that this was the El Cheapo episode, there's not going to be really much if you don't like the main plot line here. But that said, I just love a great Kira episode. I have great memories of this, and I think this is going to have to be a 10.
Wow. I feel like I've watched this fairly recently because I did a sort of... I can't remember. I think Auto was watching some early DS9. I thought, I'm going to watch some as well when I was pretty tired one day. And I was like, okay, I'll watch this. And I remember this being good, but if you know what happens, they do dance around it a little bit. That being said, I think it's very good. I'm going to go with an 8. 8 pre-rating.
Not 0.5?
Not 0.5, just a regular, plain, whole meal
We'll beat
8.
him out of it yet.
I'm generally going to rate an 8.5, and I'll be like, screw you guys, this is what I genuinely think. I'm not going for the memes. Anyway, Auto, since you're there with the rib, give us the scale.
So I know the drafter really hates two people in a room talking. He says that's very boring. So I'm going to pre-rate this a 4. But it also doesn't have a B plot. It only has one plot, so I'm going to downgrade it to a 1.
Wow.
But...
Are you Frank?
Yes, this is my ode to Frank. Thank you for... There were a few times during the draft where just, you little piss ants. First, Shy drafted Twilight. I'm like, that fucker. And then Stars drafted the Ultimate Computer on, kicked dirt in his face.
Oh, and Counterpoint.
And Dan drafted Duet. And that's one of those that really makes me hate the man. So I'm going to pre-rate this a 12.
Wow. Go Stars.
I remember this being extremely good. I think that this is that Dan's indication that this is sort of where you really start to see what DS9 is going to become. In season 1 and 2, you have your If Wishes Were Horses, you have your Babels.
God.
Yeah. We'll get there eventually. But then you have episodes like this and Progress, and those are episodes where I think they fit perfectly within the DS9 mythos, completely seamlessly. If you went from those episodes with a few bits of extra connective tissue into some really deep, dark, season 4, 5, 6 episodes, there would not really be any kind of incongruity in terms of the depth and intensity of the subject matter. That trailer did a really bad job of selling it on me, and I'm kind of second-guessing myself. But this has an amazing reputation, and I also just adore Nana Visitor. She's one of my favorite performers in all of Star Trek. So I'm going to have to go for a 9.5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Boot up what is left of the Paramount Plus subscription service and get this episode synced on your television, because we're going to start watching it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly going nowhere.
Don't forget your Schiller rating, Dan.
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Right.
Don't be like me. Be professional.
Ooh, equal intensity.
What does that mean?
What?
It's a valid question.
Arachminuous.
The guy must have played something else. I can look him
I
up.
think he has.
Almost certainly.
It's probably Vaughan Armstrong. It's always Vaughan Armstrong. No, it's not Vaughan Armstrong.
Norman Large.
And Norman's getting large.
Oh, we played Mayquiz and Dark Page, Neural, and Unification Part 1 and 2.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He was in a couple Voyager.
I remember Neural. He was a good one. Not a bad guy.
Norman Large. Good framing there.
Yeah. Kind of like, of course, why? Scammed you again, overtired.
Take about 43 minutes, Major.
Man, they really her emissary hair was so bad they fixed it really quickly.
Yeah, they had to.
It's the Balana eyebrows of DS9.
Yeah.
Ah, Major.
No.
Come on the promenade.
No.
It's a Cardassian, a filthy Cardassian.
And if I recall, this is the, Auto's favored version of the DS9 theme.
Or the early.
This and Enterprise, the first ones are better than the remixes.
I will agree.
They're trying to make it like more up tempo, and it just fails.
They had the drums, and they're all out of time, and it's.
Oh yeah, Idle hates the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the weird like quarter step, half step off, and I can never quite figure it out.
It's just that slow arrival. It's just really sort of suits the tone.
I think this is actually one of the more TNG episodes of DS9.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah. Okay, question. Does Jetrel from Voyager steal this episode's homework a little bit?
Probably. That was the one with the Neelix's Metreon Cascade creator episode, wasn't it?
Unless this episode steals World War II's homework. Like, come on, it's all derivative anyway.
Well, I mean, there's an argument to be made there about DS9, isn't there?
No, I think actually, and it says in the memory alpha, it is so derivative that you can point to like 4 or 5 different conflicts and say this is speaking about that with enough ambiguity that it could fit into all of them. So
I mean, you could also just point back to the George Takei Twilight Zone episode as well, which is kind of this, except without the crazy people, as crazy people.
I always thought that Armin Shimon was 2 M's.
And he's 1.
Yeah, Armin Shimmerman. Oh, there's 3 M's.
No, in Shimon. Let me just double check that. I'm curious.
There's 3 M's total. 1 in the first name, 2 in the second.
Okay, I've been giving him an extra M all this time. Okay, well.
He's the Shimmer Man.
No.
This slow run.
He's very slowly getting away. Straight into a guard. 2 guards.
Makeup still isn't fixed. I mean, settled.
I'm here enjoying a succulent Chinese meal. Oh my god, I have to do that edit.
Fanatic.
I see you know your Lokbara. Tony Rizzoli.
Tony Rizzoli.
Sounds like I've got a packet.
We all got to deal with season 1 Bashir here, so.
Yeah.
He didn't Riker yet.
Eamon.
Didn't grow the beard.
I've already got my worst stuff, by the way. Locked in.
Odo's just like, yes.
This is usually like climax acting and dialogue.
Yeah.
You usually don't get this in minute 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that shot.
That's right, overtired. They stole the language from English, so it really is too derivative for me to. evasive eyes.
Oh yeah, this guy.
The drunk tank.
Is that Rob Schneider?
It's not quite as obnoxious. He's got a great voice. Was he in Westerns? I bet he was.
He's got like 130 credits, I think.
Yeah,
I'm
he was-
unsurprised. Yeah, he's got character actor
everything.
all over him. This is gonna be a very quiet
Yeah. It's not much to riff
watch
on.
along. Yeah, it's a fairly
This is typical DS9
dry
dry.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But well, I know dry is unfair, I think. We'll make it serious, I guess.
Yeah.
More good framing. They follow
Yeah.
Bashir as he leave and settle on the comm call.
That Cisco tone of, by the way.
And then he just smiles right after.
Yeah.
You want the Strait of Hormuz closed? I mean open.
We need to extend the time. Let's make a really, really long staircase. That's his job.
Hmm.
I love when they duel over a jurisdiction.
Yeah, it certainly kind of falls away in like the later seasons, really.
Well, I think because they trust the other has honorable intentions.
Yeah.
No, say no more. Say less. We're done. Go home.
Is that good enough for you?
I guess
Is this like one of
the part about Odo having been working alongside them earlier, because that would have been equally compromised if he was leading the investigation.
Yeah, Odo, the longtime collaborator, of whoever owns the station.
Yeah.
Well, the Bajorans respected him because they felt that he was fair.
Yeah, he didn't work for the Cardassians.
And
He
the
worked for
Dominion
justice.
and the Cardassians and the Federation. I mean...
It's almost as if he changes his shape to meet with them.
I don't like these two, their dynamic. Once he ascends to godhood and the way she tiptoes around him, I prefer they go more like this.
You prefer it to be a loggerheads, yeah. It's something that's kind of lost after.
I mean, not even that. It's more like you have to earn each other's respect. Where Once he's the emissary,
True, but that's
it's
not
like
something you can play
she
for an
feels
entire 7
compelled
seasons.
to give it to him. Well, I'm just saying I like it better than
No, that's valid. Yeah,
this guy.
it's not a great line read.
He's playing to the
Alright,
back
buddy.
row.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes.
I miss Odo's collar already.
What about the belt?
The belt's cool. I like the belt. If I tell him that, he'll shift it back on.
This is probably where the episode starts.
Realistically speaking, yeah.
Talk to
Hot
him.
fish juice.
Do you remember him in 24 Idol?
Oh, was he?
He's in the same season with Michelle Forbes. I think it's season 2.
Oh, who did he play? I have to look that up now.
Played the CIA director, I think.
Ooh.
I like the overhead lighting here.
Hmm.
Harris Newland.
Dude, they should just send in Garrick. Have those two go at it.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
Also, he's one of the thicker Cardassians.
Yeah.
I like my Cardassians, I like them thick.
Is he a bit like paler than most Cardassians?
I think it's just the lighting again.
Yeah, the lighting.
Might be, yeah.
Exactitude.
Hmm.
Peekaboo.
I was an instructor in filing.
Exemplary.
eBay survives again.
So this feels like a recitation from him in the best way. Like he's prepared the script ahead of time because he knows what his objective is. And he waits for her to ask the questions that he's prepared the answers to.
I'm sure that's what the forms said, yeah. His voice is perfectly modulated.
Dude, why do you think I picked this for the table read? Such a fucking juicy role.
Yeah. And that's the worst part, is that that's true, unfortunately.
Yeah. I can't do that, Dave.
The direction here is on point. Yeah, that's that fucking smile.
That damn smile.
Yeah, I was going to say that's where the trouble started.
I hate Ducat.
You know, Ducat's a nice ad here because he obfuscates the whole time.
Mm.
You don't know if he's being genuine or not.
When has a Cardassian ever lied?
You think they cast Cardassians based on voice tapes sent in?
Probably.
Let him go, let him go.
I'm just waiting for Cisco to reach over and turn the freaking viewer off.
Janeway would have by now, for sure.
Yeah.
Big button there and everything.
I think Cisco enjoys the jousting too much.
Mm.
Yeah, imagine if you play a Cardassian, you've got to have a long neck. You have to. I can't imagine Avery Brooks being a Cardassian.
Mm.
I think that's when you get the thicker Cardassian.
Chris Farley as Gul Dukat.
Wow.
I lived in a station down by the wormhole.
Nope, forgot where I was going. I got to turn back.
Mm-hmm.
An executive file clerk.
I mean, that's not necessarily wrong. Mm.
Dax's hairline's distracting me.
Nana's totally outclassing Terry here.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Terry's still having to play season 1 Dax. She's like anesthetized, you know? Like, you could see a little bit of glimmer of later Dax in the scene in Ops where she was allowed to be a bit brighter, but like she's starting to play the Spock role here. Oh, hey, O'Brien, I forgot you're in the show.
Yeah. Neela, too.
I'll go pull the trigger on this diagnostic.
I've set up your Hot Wheels.
Yeah, of course they would.
Transformation.
Yeah, I want to see them do like warping and distorting, like Photoshop bullshit.
Yeah. This is very much a CSI enhanced.
Yeah.
It's kind of bullshit.
Well, you can fight for your worst of. Then zoom in on Waldo.
ChatGPT.
Did you have a chance to do a hilarious edit here, Idol?
No, I'm just going to put it with the one with you eating crisps again.
No, it's making that picture of him outside with like the nipples cut out of his shirt.
Oh, you like that, did you? Oh, good guess.
You know, that was handy.
They should pick one of the ones with the back of his head. The camera just rotates around.
I hate this. I hate this. Where the fuck are you getting this
doesn't
perspective
make-
from?
It doesn't make a lick of sense.
Da, 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 da.
Reminds me of a bit in Quantum of Solace where like Bond takes a load of pictures of like people at a secret meeting and like he just starts automatically filling in sketches of them for whatever goddamn reason.
Wait, you're going to kill him anyway?
Oh, fuck, he's so good.
Oh, that's why they call him Dar Heel, because he's a perfect heel.
Thank you for your attention to this matter, Kira.
We're not French. I love when an actor goes, okay, I'm going to get into the silly makeup, and then does this, and you're like, fuck yeah, you're the best kind of person. Like the little stumbles.
You remember during the Q Who review when you ask, is this Arch, Dan?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, well, this is the direction, you know. It's played perfectly.
Sad strings. Sad but
Intense
inquisitive.
sad strings. Yes.
See, it's strings instead of French horn, so I know it's not Paul Belargian. Sieve Ale.
Ale from a sieve.
She's going to be the Punisher now.
God, I'd watch 8 seasons of that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Kieran Reese,
Punisher
Bounty Hunter.
Kira? Fuck yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I like seductive or Odo. I like seductive
Wow.
auto.
That's a Freudian slip.
That's the second time this stream you guys have been hot for me. I like this. I find it interesting that Nana is bigger away from him than she is with him in the room.
Oh, yeah. No, Oda. That would be sensible. Yeah, but you had a tiny cell that didn't matter.
This feels a little too silver bullety to me.
I mean, he's not wrong, though.
Well, because they wrote it that way, but I mean...
Well, it's not bad logic, either.
It is specific to mention Kira Cell by name, but yeah. 6,400 records from Quark.
Well, also, like, that is an obscene amount of freedom of information, there. Like, Christ.
It's Odo. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's true.
Kind of interesting how much he bigs himself up.
He's doing all
because he obsesses over that.
It almost feels Twilight Zone-esque, like the way they're framing it and doing like interesting choices here.
I think that's just because this is again just an episode done on the cheap, as much classic television had to be. So
we should have a cost to rating ratio at some point.
I think when something is clever and competent now, you just call it Twilight Zone.
I do. Rod Serling has set the bar high. What is the flight time of a laden swallow?
Good lighting there too.
Dude, she looks incredible in this episode.
We got the extras. Good.
They look like they just come off the Dune set.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think that go boing.
Boing, 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 boing.
Just give me the.
How?
Why would he use his own fucking name for that? Come on.
Well, I suppose he had to provide an authorization, maybe.
I mean, if he's a filing clerk, I'm sure he could steal someone's credentials.
Yeah, see, they'd already established that he was working with the Cardassians.
Yeah.
I feel like Ducat is genuine more often than he gets credit for, but no one believes the genuine moments because he's such a shitbag the rest of the time.
Well, there's also that thing of like, if you're genuine, but what you're feeling genuine about is sickening, does anyone want to know? How many times do I have to say it? He's just in a world with plastic surgery, dude. Didn't someone create a clone to frame you like 10 episodes ago?
Lamoni S.
Yeah.
I mean, if half of Kardashian saw the body, surely that's like going to be on record, quite obviously.
A state funeral, yeah, you would assume. God, I miss Renee.
You can see his temples flex underneath latex.
But for Bison, it was Tuesday.
Right, it's the same vibe I got.
Yeah. How did Dr. Bashir help? I missed that part.
Because he was checking the medical history request, I think.
Fake news.
Mm-hmm.
This is 42 minutes of Kira not wanting to believe what's in front of her eyes.
Mm.
It's 5-year swimming certificate.
It's a very cognizant award.
Mm.
I feel like we've had this plot point like 5 times now.
Well, now we're getting to the important
Yeah.
bit. 8.5. No good.
You can tell Bashir felt really good about getting to deliver that.
You know,
Ominous
so
French horns.
the two moments of breakthrough were discovered by Odo and then Bashir. It's kind of a shame Kira couldn't figure one of them out.
Mm. Hmm.
I love his delivery on these lines.
I'm wrong.
So fake news. Mm. Mm. The recitation. Slaughtering.
Gold. Sound strings.
It's like he's trapped in a room by himself and there's no one else there. First he's orating to the walls and now he's in his own head.
Yeah, Damar, what kind of people give those orders?
Yeah. Oh, horns into strings.
Mm.
You any good at sewing? Then I started stabbing. It is merely a flesh wound.
I think she should just automatically mute idle during the last 5 minutes of every episode. That lighting is odd. Is there like a fan overhead?
It's the annoying strobe light they've got on the promenade.
Oh, it is, yeah. It might just be the frame rate of the video to be. Oh no, wait, no, it is that.
It is. It's
wow.
I hate that strobe light. It turns up all the worst places.
Oh, 8.5.
Well,
idle.
Hello. Let me press some buttons. Go on.
Go into our DMs. The top pin.
Oh, hang on.
That link. Make sure you have that ready.
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna need it.
Wait. Oh, the top pin. Sorry, the last post you sent me was a transcript of that.
In our DMs.
Not the Maynard. Thing.
Oh hell yeah, we're doing it, baby.
What, on our DMs? Oh wait,
yes.
you want that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay, hang on. Let me. Oh, our video's not available. But you're lucky.
Oh.
Because I think I have it saved somewhere. Oh, maybe I don't, actually. I thought I did. You might have to play it yourself.
I want to get...
Right.
All right. Well, if you can find it while we're yapping,
I'll do that. I'll
we might have to do it without the music. I want to give Dan a digital hug right now.
Right.
Yeah, that was a great watch. I enjoyed getting
Yeah, it's a real feel good story.
Well, it's where you really start to feel for Kira, right? This is the first episode where she loses her hard edge, and you realize that she's a deeper character instead of just one-dimensional, which is a lot of how she was played in the early part of the episode. Voyager kind of repeats the mistake with the Maquis, and I think they dropped that quickly, probably to their benefit, but I just realized a lot more drawn out. This is very late in the season. I think this is the next to last episode, right before the hands of the prophets. So
I'm gonna have to stop you there because two reasons. One, I think the audio didn't go through to. The second one as well is I had your camera set on Frank's mode, who I had to zoom in because he was vertical. So we just had Big Dan in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Big Dan! That is Big Dan. Holy shit!
Big Dan.
Big Bad Dan.
It's Big Dan. All right, let's do it again.
Big Dan.
Welcome to Star Trek Trek, our ongoing journey through the episodes of Star Trek, and we have just watched and savoured the ambience of Deep Space Nine Season 1, Episode 19's Duet. The 2 men in a room, or 1 woman, 1 man in a room, basically eating up the scenery to good effect. Dan, this was your draft pick in our big draft pick we did a few months back. Why Duet? What was it that made into your top 15 of episodes all time that we should watch together? Why Duet?
Well, as much as I love this type of Star Trek episode. It's a little more on the infrequent side that we get something just as pure as this, where we just get a character study. We really get so Deep Space Nine. One of the key principles is that they're not going anywhere, right? And they take some exploration through the wormhole, but we really get to just kind of do a study of the characters and their circumstances, and it winds up being it could have gone a lot more sitcom-y, but in this case they took in the drama direction, and we get our humor episodes, right? Deep Space Nine isn't afraid to go there, and I think they pull it off largely, but this really shows just the willingness of the writers to say, hey, we are not afraid of some tough dialogue, some tough subjects, and we can take it on just like original series did, just like Next Generation did. This is a statement, and it really succeeds. I'm glad that it winds up not being boring. That I was afraid at one point, oh my God, is Kira going to go in and out one more time? Is she going to just is this going to be just her bouncing back and forth between Sisko's office and Odo's office and whatever? But I think they kept the tempo up on this too. Like we were shocked that we got our dramatic crescendo with the soap opera moment with Kira breaking down within the first 3 minutes of the episode, and it's because this episode doesn't waste any time. It's pretty tightly scripted. They cut to the chase and get to the interesting part right away, and they let it linger and really mellow, and I appreciate that.
And yeah, go on.
I gotta say, every time we weren't in the room with Harris Yulin, I'm like, just shut the hell up, get back to those two in the room. Like, it is the other stuff it's standard expository Star Trek, but it's like it doesn't hold a candle to what the other two are doing in this episode. And you would think being locked in a room for that long would get boring. No, it was gripping the entire way through.
So I actually have some thoughts on that, because like you on dwelling on the title, and it's like it's called Duet, but it feels more like, in terms of the oscillation of tone, because everything between Maritza / Darkeel and Kira is basically an aria, and then everything else with, say, like Odo and Sisko and Bashir, whatever, that's all recitative. That's like, we need to go through the necessary plot beats and stuff like that. And like, no one, when someone says, "Hey, do me a piece from opera," no one ever says, "Do that bit of recitative from whatever." They always say, "Do that one aria," because that's the emotional high point that you hit. And I feel like, it doesn't hold a candle to the stuff in a room of Nana Visitor and Harris Yulin, but it's like you cannot sustain. I don't think it's possible to sustain that level of emotional intensity for 45 minutes uninterrupted without losing something. I think that you would risk losing impact and piquancy. You would lose the necessary wavering of Kira's character. Because like Dan mentioned, like Kira in season 1 is this bolshy, loud, shouty, brash character. I think one of the only real instances of real nuance that you get within her character is in Progress, where you see some more of that like softer side, and then the occasional scene with other Bajorans. But most of the part, she's like, "Fuck you, Starfleet! Come over here with your Freudnian medicine and your highfalutin ideals." But here it's like you actually need to see her shrink away from something, and because of the way Kira is and like the artifice that she constructs of like the fearless Shakar terrorist, she cannot afford to let that down in front of who she perceives to be Darheel or Maritza, but she can afford to take it to different places with Odo and with Sisko. And I feel like that's really necessary. Otherwise, like otherwise you're getting two performances by characters who are performing outside of their own character at each other for 45 minutes, rather than these characters existing in their own skin and then putting on their brave face and then going in the room to go at each other. Like, that's why I feel like it's necessary to have those peaks and valleys so that it has more impact. Like, I'm not denying that it was very standard sci-fi Star Trek. We need to get through our technobabble and establish the facts of the case type thing. But like, it's like with a murder mystery, right? You can't do the big denouement reveal of who the murderer was for the entire thing, even though it's the most satisfying part of the drama. You need to actually do the build up and set out all the particulars first.
And yeah,
Right.
you also got to pay the rest of your actors too. So
Yes,
apart from Jake.
Yeah, I loved Cole Meany's obligatory one scene where he had like 4 lines of dialogue, maybe.
Quark has 2 lines in this episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna disagree in a way. Have you guys seen that Netflix miniseries Adolescence?
I have not.
4 episodes. They're each an hour long, and each one is done in one take. The camera follows people from around their rooms, but it doesn't cut a single time. Episode 3, which everyone I've seen that has watched it has lauded it as incredible. Oh, it's the best one. It won, like, it swept the Emmys or whatever. In that one, they're locked in one room except for one short scene where she steps out and then back in. And it's a kid, a 13-year-old kid, and his psychiatrist. And they're breaking down what's going on. And it does crescendo, and he does kind of crack toward the end, similar to this. They do that over an hour without cutting, and it gets rave reviews. Now, maybe for this episode, if you want to structure it the same, it wouldn't work because, yes, I mentioned it's a shame that she doesn't get either of the breakthroughs, but actually it works because she's not in the right headspace to be making those discoveries.
Yeah.
She's trying to struggle with her own overcoming. But if you wanted to do an episode, 42 minutes of them in a room together, I think it absolutely could work because of the strength of the actors. So in a way, I'm it could be done for this particular episode. It does need the cutting back and forth, but that's, semantics.
Well, I mean, it's sort of like that's the between like Duet and Waltz, right? It's like Waltz is kind of a bit more of that intensity, and I feel like like that. It's also a case of we are still early enough in DS9's life cycle that I feel like you do need to set out more of the like I know that we have gotten a lot of like details about the Bajoran atrocities and what the occupation was like, but I feel like for the specificity of what Maritza or like Yadahil is accused of, you kind of need that time to set it out and really contextualize it as part of a wider show. Because like Adolescence exists within its own thing of like like an hour. This has to exist as part of a 26 episode season, and then within a 7 season like show.
Okay, this episode was directed.
By the way, this is called Duet because it's just Stars and I going back and forth.
I was going to say, we're going to break it up. We're going to break up here. We're going to do a cutaway now.
Talking over him.
This episode was directed by James L. Conway, who did other such notable episodes as Justice, Frame of Mind, Way of Warrior, Death Wish, Broken Bow, a wide variety of stuff. He's one of Star Trek's established directors that have just done a lot.
Yeah.
The interesting part of this is who wrote the story. This was written by Lisa Rich and Jeanne Carrigan-Fauci. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. The only things they've done, so they did they worked together. They did the teleplay for Liaisons from TNG and Move Along Home for Their Sins. And this is the only story they've written for Star Trek. And this is the only thing they've ever written for anything on telly ever, according to IMDb. They basically walked into the room, dropped a bomb, went, I've peaked, and left.
So they make it sound like they more presented the idea. And I think a lot more of the credit goes to Peter Allen Fields, who did the teleplay. The teleplay usually is pretty close to what you will see on TV. He did Half a Life, the David Ogden Stiers one, The Inner Light, In the Pale Moonlight, For the Uniform, The Dogs of War. So he knows how to write dramatic, back and forth. I think probably he did a lot of the molding for this episode's dialogue, the back and forth stuff.
So yeah, I mean, for the original pitch, they based the idea that a simple conflict is, and this has come from Memory Alpha, so inheriting the idea of someone having to defend their worst enemy. And looking at like other episodes, like we mentioned Waltz as well, and other parts of this tapestry of the Cardassian and Bajoran politics. Like I always find this episode interesting for sort of fleshing that out. And again, we talk about a 26 episode season of like having these episodes specifically to do that and kind of enrich the world. And it's one of the things that I really like about DS9 is it makes this whole thing seem like a real atrocity based on, unfortunately, our own atrocities. And it's not exactly plucked from the thin air, but it is, it's another sort of facet in this world. I think when people sort of like, the early reviews of DS9, and I said them when it came, it was like, oh God, this is going to be boring. It's going to be on a space station. They're not going to travel anywhere. And you just end up dealing with Cardassians and Bajorans all the time. But actually, it's just nice to be in one place analyzing to the nth degree, like the subjects, like what because the episode does start with Cardassians being very much persecuted in a way. It's like, oh, I'm not, I don't want to be in a cell with one of them. It's like, he's a Cardassian, they're all guilty, and by the end it's sort of a complete 180 when he ends up being this, Maritza ends up becoming the sympathetic figure.
So the struggle that Star Trek has always tried to avoid is the monster of the week syndrome, right? And Doctor Who gets accused of this in its early seasons and has a tough time breaking out once the Daleks catch on, and so Lost in Space, but even
Buffy,
original
etc.,
series,
yeah.
falls into that trope very frequently because they have so many guest writers, and it's like, oh, you want some sci-fi? Well, this is sci-fi, right? So, and so the inverse of that with Deep Space Nine is the freighter of the week, like what freighter's going to drop off the plot point for this week that we have to deal with, and this episode's not exempt. It doesn't get a pass from that. That's exactly what happens here. We've got the Kobarian freighter or whatever that drops off Darheel, and so, but in this case, it's an enemy that we know because we've dealt with Ducat for 2 series now, and we understand. The deceit of the Cardassians. At this point, we've met Garrick, and he seems to be a little more, a little bit better of a package, more digestible, but still, very similar. So, what's our exposure that we've had to this race? And this guy seems to reinforce the stereotypes. So, the monster of the week is the devil we know, or at least we thought we did. So.
Jesus Christ!
So I think that's
Sterling's in the room with us.
yeah. So I mean, it leans on the trope, but I think it subverts it really nicely here. So it kind of works. The writers, given their task of just write some dialogue and we're going to film it, and we're going to talk about the occupation and the murders and stuff, but we're not going to do flashbacks to any of that. No, we don't need to show a mining accident. We'll just talk about it 5 separate times in every single act of the thing, but we're not going to show this. The only thing we got is a single still image that they mess around with a little bit, and so I think again I like to credit episodes for taking a big risk, even though this one seems to be pretty tropey. But it's really surprising that this made it to TV. They couldn't even string together a trailer that was exciting. It was just some guy
that was a bit
shifting around on bed. So.
Well, I mean, the intrinsic thing with tropes is that a trope is not inherently a bad thing. A trope is just a recognizable storytelling tool to be used well or to be used poorly. And I think this kind of pulls back again to what Otto said about the empath, which is that if you consider this as a stage play, this even more so than the empath is completely transferable. There are no external sets. Like, you would be able to do this with a cast of 5 people maximum, 1 picture, and some very minor moving of a table to make it look like 3 different offices and a jail cell. Like, it would not be hard to do that. But it's just a case of it's tropey, but that doesn't necessarily mean that. I don't know. It's just if a trope executed well is, in my mind, barely a trope. It's a case of I don't know. My brain is failing me here, but it's a case of
I see where you go with this. If something is very common but does it the best, then it is the exception, because then that's the high bar, isn't it? That's okay, it's repeated upon it, but it's actually done it incredibly well.
Let me ask you guys. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say part of that. I was going to talk about Harris Yulin, who plays Maritza, and just how his performance. And I said it as we were watching along. It is slightly sort of disconcerting to say, here's £5 of latex, put this costume on, pretend you're part of this genocidal race, and act your fucking balls off, because he did in this episode. He was incredible. And for someone to do that and emote, and we say this about Andrew Robertson all the time, you see it beyond the makeup, you see how they embody this character, and for him to go pretend to be a dude inside another dude, essentially being Maritza being Darheel being Maritza, and then having his tirades as well. It was just incredible. He's such a talent
I always
guy.
thought this episode was just a reference to his character. There are 2 Cardassians inside you. It's not.
Sorry about the
it's not
transporter
Kira
accident.
versus. It's not Kira versus Eamon. It's Eamon trying to reconcile, but trying to keep the mask up. I feel like the whole duet is being played inside this one character.
Yeah.
No, I would tend to agree. And it's interesting that you mentioned, the struggle to portray the character. I don't know. There are so many good Cardassian bit players. Like, I think of like David Warner. I think of Mark Alamo. I think of Casey Biggs. I think of Harris Hewlett. I think the actor who played freaking Garrick's father and Arbentane.
Oh yeah.
Kira's adoptive father in second season. There are so many consistently good Cardassian bit players. It's like partly that's just down to like good acting, right? Like a good casting, directing, and knowing exactly who to pick. But I think there is also a degree to which the Cardassian makeup is really, really well designed. Because it is so much more than just like the little thing on the nose or a little thing on the forehead. It is such a complete physical transformation, and it's also a case of if you're like a TV character actor and someone says to you, "Okay, you've been cast in DS9. I need you to play an alien," and you go, "Oh, I'm going to be wearing rubber." It's like, okay, yeah, but your direction is you are a literally cold-blooded reptilian alien who is a war criminal. And that's really easy to kind of like get your hooks into and work through, I feel.
And then go,
and I feel like that's just...
But now...
But yeah, like that's the thing, is it's like that's a really easy thing to kind of grasp onto. Whereas we've talked a lot on this show about how so often actors fail to understand what Vulcans are and how they act, because it's not an absence of emotion, it's control over emotion. Whereas I feel like it's a testament to just how good the Cardassian makeup is and how well conceptualized as a species they are, that it's like you can just key into that very clearly, like, and then you can subvert it and iterate on it really, really well.
Well, the essential element of Cardassian is they love to hear themselves talk and they love to lie, which is almost all of them. That is such a fun challenge for an actor. It's almost not even a challenge, because it's like what you practice growing up and honing your craft. It's one big lie. So I've said before,
we get Ducat's like one genuine moment in the entire in two different series when he's actually taken aback by what Sisko tells him, and he's like, wait, what?
He's telling the truth the whole way. Like he's not jousting, but because we're predisposed to not believe anything he says, it adds its own layer.
Thing is, I think at this point as well, how well we don't know Ducat that well. I think we've seen him in Emissary and maybe I'm just trying to think,
2 or 3 other episodes.
Maybe 1 or 2 other times. And I think at this point we know him as an antagonist, but not quite the deceptive liar that we find out he is, sort of, or the narcissist that he is later in the series.
But enough about your new LP.
Did think to myself, like, should I say it? Yes. Out now on Spotify.
All right.
Go on.
Did you get the music?
I have. I hope this works. So, if this comes,
hold on. Before we play it,
okay.
I would like to officially nominate. It's been quite a while. I would like to nominate Harris Yulin into the Trek Hall of Awesome for his performance in this episode.
Here.
All in favor?
I co-sign that.
Aye.
Okay.
The ayes have it.
Hit it.
It's going to the stream. Anyway, that's all I can legally play.
Yeah, copyright. We're going to get that.
One entry. That's our first entry into the Hall of Awesome. I'm sure we did one other.
No, we've done like 2 or 3, I think.
6 or 7.
We just didn't write it down.
It's been quite a while. Yeah, no, why would we?
Why would we ever?
They're in the hall.
It's way too organized. Yeah.
He is... All right. Before I get to my next plot point about him, let me circle back around. The character of Kanan, played by Tony Rizzoli. He looks, very Italian. Kanan. I wonder if that's Cain and Abel reference. Anyways, what did you think of that character? The drunk who ends up stabbing him at the end.
I never realized that it was the same person. I did remember the one in the drunk tank, and I had no clue that it was actually...
really?
They even put him in a bright blue overcoat. It was like, this guy.
But they do a good job, though, of setting up the different types of Bajorans that all have the same, well, I'll call it racism. I mean, it's what it is. But we've got the menial blue collar drunk that's wasting away his time, and Then you've got the high level when Cisco gets the call from whichever head of state was like, oh, you got to send this guy to us. We're going to bring him to justice. And, at all levels, it's just been too soon. It's only been 12 years and the pain is still real and everybody's still looking for answers. So,
yeah. No, my brain just died then. I was going to say something and it just completely went out there. I was too distracted.
Just sitting there waiting for you, like, yes,
yes, quite. So I was too distracted by trying to hear you over your cat.
Oh, that was Dan purring. That wasn't. He really likes this episode.
Good Lord.
Well, I bring him up because not only does he have awful line reads more than once.
Yeah, he's not good.
I didn't like this. The ending is fine. I don't love it.
It's
to me,
typical TV quick death.
To me,
he's
the climax is Eamon breaking down in the cell. That's what we all remember. This double twist actually does nothing for me. Part of it is because, can you imagine if they she lets him go because it's the noble thing to do, no more deaths, whatever, that trope, while we're talking tropes. Can you imagine if he came back season 5, I think, when Kira realizes she's starting to collaborate with the station under control, and he gives her this speech, like, don't make the mistake I did. Don't turn a deaf ear to what's happening. And that being the catalyst for her catching herself, that would be so powerful.
Yeah.
That could be an episode in itself. I feel like there's a lot more to explore with him. Definitely. And killing him, like, what does that add? She's already realized the wrongness in her bigotry and her preconceptions in this episode. I don't feel like the stabbing really added too much.
They do kind of do it, don't they? With because she gets abducted, turned into Cardassian, and the person who is her father ends up coming and put on trial just before the Dominion War kicks in. I forget his name though. So they kind of do have that Cardassian father figure that Maritza could have slotted into.
Yeah. So I actually have to disagree.
Yeah, that's what.
To Kenny do more. That's it. Yeah. So I actually have to disagree with you. I think that the stabbing is kind of essential. Like, I definitely think the assassin is lame. Because it's like we have to kind of get into the Kira of all this because she's like the most maybe the most dynamic character. It kind of depends on how much you think Maritza quote unquote changes during the course of this episode, or whether or not he just he gets revealed and it does that count as a change. But with Kira, you see her go from the elation and like the solidarity with when she thinks it's a Kolonor survivor. Then there's the disgust, the hatred, the righteousness. Then there's the inquisitiveness. There's the fear. And by the time that she's gotten Maritza to unfurl and reveal himself, there's sympathy. There is understanding. And like I find it so I don't know if I caught it the first time around or the first few times I've watched it, but the fact that she explicitly identifies him as a good man, which is like a really wild thing for Kira to say, but it absolutely feels right in the moment, which is not something you'd expect, but it feels right. Yeah, exactly. But it's a case of she hasn't quite completed it yet because when he gets stabbed, she then goes from like the understanding and the sympathy to the indignation and then the self-disgust. And I feel like that's really important because I feel like without that disgust at what she's realized she's allowed to foment inside her, she would not make it to season 5. She would not be able to coexist alongside other Cardassians. It's important for Kira's voyage and long-term character development that he die here, because it's a case of Kira's like journey and relationship to Cardassians changes so much, and it's not like a constant arc. It goes back and forth so often where it's like you've got Ducat at his best and Ducat at his worst. You've got
if you can't handle me at my Ducat best, you don't deserve me at my Ducat worst.
Yeah, Zial, right? And then like the way that all oscillates, and it's a case of yes, Cardassians are people. Yes, they are complex. Yes, they are this. Okay, I can live alongside a Cardassian, and then that by the time she's reached the I can live alongside Cardassians, that's when you have the collaboration, and that's what starts the slippery slope So I feel like the fact of his death is fairly important to get her going along that. Like, I imagine you could potentially fulfill it with another episode down the road, but I feel like there's a succinctness and a simplicity to just making like what was the original concept here? Making you making someone defending your the worst person you've ever known. You know, like it's not enough to just defend their right to live. You have to feel indignant and ashamed of yourself when they die, because of what they've revealed to you, and like. That's a really complex emotion that I feel like even if you ask Kira, I don't think she would have had a strong answer to you on how she feels about that. But I feel like it's an important place to take her growth going forward.
You know, I wish I can't remember. No, it's great. No, it's great stuff. And this really his release. You know, he wasn't able to return. You know, obviously, but that frees up her ability to empathize with other characters, Garrick and Ducat, in certain ways. And I think obviously Ducat is always going to be the villain. But I just wonder. I don't remember a whole lot between her and Garrick in the series, though. Garrick seems to get to play off of almost
mostly
everybody.
in season
but I don't
7,
recall.
to be honest, when they're doing the resistance side of things.
I guess so.
There's also the bit in Civil Defense where he calls out Ducat for having hots on her.
I just think it would have been a lot more interesting, you know, and it's the fault of serialization versus the standalone episodes that we just never really got much of a follow-up to this. But I think the most powerful final scene to me would have been just, you know, something simply with her and somebody that we were familiar with in Garrick. You know, we didn't get that, unfortunately. You know, I think in that kind of, you know, the finished auto, to your point, really does lose kind of its thunder, and just simply killing him and leaving him there without any sort of real follow-up aside from just, you know, seeing what we already know, that she's softened and that she fell for this man. So
Bashir's like, I can do nothing. I can do nothing. He's just been lightly stabbed in the back, and he's like, no, out of my hands. Not even attempting.
It ruptured the colon or lung or whatever. Okay, so I've got a question for you guys.
Well,
this is like a hypothetical. Okay.
Before we move on, because you mentioned her dying.
Okay, this isn't moving on. This is tangential. Because we have the introduction of the Galatep survivors, and they notably don't get any like dialogue. They don't really do anything in the episode. Do you think it would improve, worsen, or just change the episode if rather than the random Bajoran drunk expressing generic xenophobia, it was one of the Galatep survivors? Do you think that? How do you think that would change the episode if one of them killed him?
I think so, because it comes more direct from the source. He's just like some random Bajoran with a big taste of bigotry. Like, having them sort of standing there all sort of like moody and brooding behind their dune masks, like, didn't really achieve a lot, to be honest, other than to go like, and here's some others.
Honestly, that hit hard. You notice they all cover their faces. I thought, acid attack? Did they remove their jaw, cut their tongue out? Like, the fact that they're all wearing them, to me, said that they did the same fucked up shit to every one of them in the labor camp. So,
or respiratory illness.
Maybe they couldn't have talked. You know, if you wanted to do a dramatic reveal and show some disfigured face, you could have. But I think the scarves did a lot for me personally. Just the implication of what kind of violence that was perpetrated on them.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a case, you know, just in terms of like. Because it's a case of what do you think is more effective in this way, like the random expression of bigotry or targeted vengeance from like someone who just needs like something to kill, like which is more efficient? Or I mean, in terms of storytelling,
I would prefer the episode without Kanan in his entirety. I thought so. You have enough episodes where you get these background, like someone mentioned, what was it, the one where Odo's framed for murder, whatever. You already have the Bajorans on the station being bigots and forming mobs and stuff, and I think that kicks off season 2 with the Broken Circle or whatever. So like they have that element repeated throughout the early seasons. I don't think he added enough, or even the survivors added enough for them to take a more active role in this episode.
That's fair. Sorry to interrupt.
So Kira, I want to give Kira her flowers too, because she's big outside of the room, and when she's with him, you can tell she doesn't want to give too much away, so she's trying to tamp down her disgust. I still don't like Paul Wesley as Kirk, and it's not his line reads. I know everyone thinks, he's got to do the same halting line reads. It's not that. It's close. He doesn't have the energy. He doesn't have the aura. Nana's visitor's aura as Kira is just unimpeachable. She has this vibrancy and verve and vivacity and vitality and all those V words that are like, when she's on screen, you're watching her. And they do this to me inexcusable sin repeatedly. They pair her up with the most fucking charisma vacuum characters, Jara Esso and Barile and Shakar. These guys that have zero pull on or magnetism on your screen, and it's such a shame. When you put her against someone like Harris Yulin, it brings out the best of both of them. And it kind of reminds me a lot of the way Sir Patrick sometimes, when there's a guest star of the week, he'll pull back and let the other guy go big. And he's still there, he can give enough at 75% to pull out a great scene, but I feel like she pulls back a little bit to let him be big. And it makes sense in storyline because she doesn't want to give too much away. So he's a great foil, not just in story, but in acting wise to bring out the best in her. And even the outbursts that come when she's not in the room are provoked because of him and who he is. So, I
don't think we would have gotten that performance out of Michelle Forbes.
No,
Yeah.
and I'd love to see that portrayal, but it is a different character. Like, you can't, if you wanted to replicate Kira, you'd have to get someone who can match that energy, not just be a great actor.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's that thing. Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you consider Kira as the quote unquote Ro replacement, it's like, not only did changing her from ex-Starfleet to someone who is Bajoran militia make a massive amount of change to the character, but also just the energy that Nana Visitor brings to it is very different. And it's the same thing with B'Elanna, who I think was also kind of meant to be maybe sort of in that vein, where it's just Roxanne Dawson brings a very different energy there. Because Ro is a lot more sardonic, a lot more jaded. Whereas Kira always read, especially in this episode, she reads very young to me. And I feel like that is something that we find out in the episode where she talks about her dad dying and the fact that she went on a raid and he died while she was gone. You kind of get the impression of, I don't know how old Nana Vesta was here, but she's
36.
You always get, okay, wow. I think that Kira is being played a lot younger than that, maybe mid to late 20s. And I feel like despite Nana's age, she's very much able to project that. And getting that vulnerability that, Ro doesn't really have that. I'm sure Michelle Forbes has that in her range, but it would just be a very different performance.
Dan, you mentioned her not playing off a lot on Garrick, and I had that thought this week. DS9 does have a couple of those actors, Andy Robinson and Armin Shimron, who have that pull, that aura on screen, that magnetism. And when you see her with Quark, those are always instant classics. I don't know why they didn't give her more with Garrick, especially with the built-in backstory. I guess most of that just got shuffled off to her and Ducat. I would have loved to have seen her and Garrick go at it back and forth in a few more episodes, because they would absolutely.
You should watch Babylon 5. That's full of stuff like that. Get the Londo and Shakar relationships. There's things like that. Let's move it on. Let's open our packet and get us a slice of
bread.
Thank you, Mr. Cisco. Some quality bread on display for this episode. But what are you going to pick? I'm going to go. We'll start with stars. Let's see what bread of the episode.
It's a healthy loaf. I think I might have to just give it up to a lot of the lighting and directorial flair that I don't think I noticed the first few times. Just a lot of very clever framing of following like monitors and viewers and then switching over to doors and the people. Just a lot of it's a very well shot this episode, and it doesn't draw attention to itself in a way that I talk about this every time, but the quality of Mercy handheld camera shot, that calls attention to itself so much. None of the directorial flair here calls attention to itself as in to say, man, I'm so impressive. It's no, it's trying to draw you into the emotional intensity, and it just really works for me. So that was kind of what stuck out to me most in this viewing.
That's what you expect from the director of Justice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, almost every scene was within a room. They didn't do too many transitions, so you had to give some kind of motion somehow.
Auto.
It's near the end of Eamon's final diatribe there. It's Maritza who's dead, Maritza who was only good for cowering under his bunk and weeping like a woman, who every night covered his ears because he couldn't bear to hear the screaming. And he breaks, his voice breaks at the exact moment you would expect it to break, because you can see him reliving the flashback, and as he gets to the horror, the words match up with that. The eyes start watering, like it breaks at exactly the right moment. So I always remember that part of his diatribe. He's so in his head in that final scene, the final interrogation room scene. It's like she may as well not even be in there. He's practiced this so many times. He's acted it out, and he thought he'd be able to sustain it, and he just couldn't, because that's how horrible it was. Bread.
Okay, I'll go next. My bread is also going to be my worst moment, but it's the actual fucking bullshit enhancement scene where they can somehow take a photo and go around a corner, and I'm just like,
they changed the camera angle.
And like Dag's like, I've enabled the image generation routine. I'm just like, no, come on. Like, even with your mumbo jumbo 24th century technology, you're not just inventing things out of thin air. Be quiet, ChatGPT. So that is definitely my bread for this episode. Dan.
So it's a very small part very early on in the episode. It's almost inconsequential, but it gets reinforced later on. And so Kira is on the bridge in ops, I should say, and she has to greet the freighter that's coming in, and this is her job now. You know, she's a first officer, and she gets a lot of these bullshit, kind of Starfleet duties, and we're already aware of her history, right? We know the types of fighting that she's done. And right as she gets on comms to greet the freighter, she puts on this fake smile, and she puts on her Starfleet persona, and she goes, "Hello, welcome to Deep Space Nine," right? And it's brought up very soon after by Maritza accusing her of cowing to her Federation masters, and so really just a wonderful, really minor but very specific setup piece that just kind of stuck with me for the entire episode. I kept thinking about that damn smile.
You mean not Maritza's big phlox grin in the middle of the interrogation?
That was good too.
I just imagine like DS9 in the future when corporations sort of when hit over and those like, welcome to DS9. If you go through the lobby, you can get your McDonald's at the service right there. And we've got a wonderful range of gifts in our gift shop here.
Just get your parking validated.
As long as I can get a jumper to stick, I'm alright.
Yeah, exactly. Try the jump jet. Anyway, let's go on to
the best advice I can give you is to just be yourself.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to Zek. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Actually, that's the second best piece of advice.
In fact, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire Ferengi Alliance.
No.
Just stop saying that.
And one day I will. Best and worst moments of the episode. No, never will. Dan starts off. We'll go reverse snake.
Well, the worst is a moment that didn't even happen. So we've got O'Brien right there, right? And we had his episode. I don't hate you, Cardassian. I hate what I became because of you. It's just the wounded. It's right there that. But they had to keep him in the background and set up whatever was going to happen in the next episode with Ayala, and I understand the episode's not about him, but just even a line, just one line, give him one line, that actually matters. They did the same thing to Quark too. They bring him on and they just give him some throwaway joke line just to kind of make sure that he get his SAG credit for the episode. And it's just kind of a shame, and it could, taking a fantastic episode like this and criticizing it for the tiny little scraps left on the floor. I guess I'm splitting hairs here, but there's not a whole else I can really point to about this episode that I'm unhappy with, because it's just fantastic. I think so. My best is going to be kind of a through line that we see, but Kira is interrogating him. This is a prisoner. We're interrogating the prisoner, and so the trope is that you've got your captive sitting in a dark room and lit by the spotlight over the top of the head, and that's what we get here. But just within the context of him being in a jail cell, and the lighting is very dramatic without being overly showy or whatever. So I really like how they were able to bring us into the situation. And again, right, tropes are kind of shorthand, right? And they did that here. They don't have to explain themselves. It's just something that was done that really added a lot. And the counterpart to that is the darkness that Kara sat in for most of it. In fact, she withdraws to the darkness. Even when she doesn't leave the room, she sits down and she's very dimly lit. And I think we even go out to a commercial break. We come back and she's in the exact same silhouette, just kind of listening to him and still making up her mind on things. So I guess the best for my episode will be credit to the lighting director. One of my rare credits to this to the workmen on the crew. So go Union, yeah.
He was a Union.
I mean, that's where the makeup pays for itself because those prosthetics are so
Angular.
prominent that they block the light from above. It gives them more of a sinister feel.
Gives him a depth. Okay, I'll start with. I'm going to be gracious, and I'm going to not go for the obvious best moment, because I know one of you two are probably going to take the Maritza basically dialogue. I'm going to go for Marco Limo in this episode. He is just superb as Ducat. He's one of those characters you can never imagine anyone recasting, like Q, like as John Delancey. John Delancey is Q. Marco Limo is Ducat, and he is so very Ducati as you're watching him through the little tiny screen as he goes from like, I could give you these files to like, wait, he's dead. And he goes like deadpan serious. I'm like, what are you talking about? I can let you have some of my file, and it's just pure Alimo, and I will always be impressed. Like anyone that puts the makeup on, like I said before, and puts their effort into learning the characters and learning this world. I think he is part of the reasons we see the Cardassians as developed as they are through. For better or for worse, through his depiction of Ducat. So that's my best. My worst, I've already said it, is the freaking enhancement scene of just like, scan around a corner. It's like, oh, there he is. He was hiding behind this person all along. And I'm not going to take latent images 3D photography because they probably didn't have that on Galatep. This is a regular 2D photo. It's bullshit. Auto.
I'm still looking for whatever. I was gonna be greedy and grab two best, but I can't find the other best. Yeah, the best. Sorry, I feel no shame. It's Harris Hewlin. It's the big moments or whatever, but just god damn, the line reads slaughter them all. Like that's why I picked it for. It's so much fun, not just the dialogue, but to just mimic him, which you're not supposed to do, but whatever. He's so phenomenal. Like the humor. The forced humor and smiles and chuckles that he puts in early on until he can't do it anymore. The derision, it's so many layers, and it's like you can see which of the programmed responses he practiced and scripted ahead of time, and then when she goes off his script, where he's struggling to keep up with her, just so good. My worst moment. The Galatep labor camp refugees come aboard. Like I say, as soon as I saw the scarves, them all wearing the same ones, I thought, okay, they're probably disfigured. It's probably going to be brutal. Quark goes, Galatep, imagine living through that hellhole. The pain, the sorrow. Do you think they like to gamble? Fuck off. I know it's your character. I know they're going for the laugh. Worst possible laugh to go through.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. It's an episode about genocide. He's ranting about slaughtering people in the next room, and you want to... Like, come on. So that's my worst. Oh, sticks out like a sore thumb. And I love Quark, but fuck off.
Stars.
So my worst moment... we it's a season 1 episode, so I can't... I'm not going to rag on Terry Farrell for it. But the scene where Dax and Kira are standing by one of the promenade upper windows, and Kira's looking out, and they're talking, like we've talked about how much about none of us is giving everything in this episode. She is every single mark she's hitting it exactly, and Terry Farrell is struggling under direction that is not taking advantage of where her actual acting strengths lie. And the lines that she's been given are fine, but it's not really a scene that I think, knowing what Dax is meant to be like and what Terry Farrell is good at, it should have probably been Cisco Or if you wanted it to be someone else, maybe it should have been O'Brien. Like if we wanted to, pick on that thread and develop it in a different way. I feel like if we were gonna cut lines out and give them to someone else, I would maybe cut like Jadzia's bit there, put more O'Brien there, and just let Jadzia just in the beginning, in the light-hearted bit on ops before Maritza comes aboard. I feel like that would have been more appropriate because it just hit the ear wrong. It's not Terry Farrell's fault. I'm not going to begrudge that, but I just don't feel like it really worked for me.
I know we have different opinions, but when her coworker Renee said of her in season 1, she can't act. Like, okay, that's fine. She gets better, but I don't. You know, she can't act early on. She can act in certain ways, but she just doesn't have nearly the range of some of her colleagues, and that's just the truth.
But I could also say the same thing about Alexander Siddig. Like they decided to take.
Please do. Yeah. I always enjoy shitting on early Alexander Siddig.
I'm sorry, Terry Farrell never gave a performance nearly as bad as that. Let's be real. Maybe a DAC, but
so there's a scene early in that trio, the season 2 trio with the circle or whatever. There's a scene where they're going off-world, Kira and Miles, to rescue war hero Lee Nallis. And before they leave, Miles is in her quarters, and he says, I've seen what the Cardassians do to their prisoners. No one should have to live through that. 10 minutes later, he's shucking and jiving on the planet's surface, cracking jokes, doing like a bad accent. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing to this character? Who, again, we call back to Wounded, like, this is real to these people, and you're making it kind of not real. So, that is a great substitution, I think, would be him in trying to talk to Kira and see what's going on in her head.
Yeah, because he's already struggled through that with the Wounded, and like it's like that's a way more relevant thread to pull on. My best, guess what? I'm just going to be a basic bitch, and I'm going to go for the actual climax of the episode, not counting the assassination. And specifically, I mentioned it already, but Kira's line, "What you're asking for is another murder. Enough good people have already died. I won't help kill another." It's just, it's such a massive movement for her. You know, like you consider it in direct opposition to the opening of the episode where she literally just sees a Cardassian and she's like, all right, get Odo in here, throw him in a cell. She doesn't need any justification. She's butting heads with Cisco about, I don't particularly care about your Starfleet jurisdiction. It's like what Bajoran needs right now. And then you just get the cut of, no, guess what? You felt guilt about this. This guilt has driven you insane. It's driven you to these obscene lengths. You've mutilated your own body just to try and force your own race and your own people to acknowledge their culpability in an atrocity. And he had to know it probably wouldn't work, or that it had a chance of failing. But he still did it anyway on the off chance that it might work. And her recognizing that goodness in him is really strong. And I also just really appreciate, you mentioned that Maritza doesn't come back because he dies, and it's like, that's a bit of a shame. A lot of what he says here is so relevant to what later story arcs. Like I mentioned the line, like Kira gives to Damar in season 7, when his family die. Damar, what kind of people give those orders? And it's like, it's moments like this that DS9 stands on the shoulders of giants of. And when, Maritza says, if Cardassia can't admit what it did was wrong, it will die. Garrick comes around to the same thing when he's standing in the ruins and what we leave behind. It's the exact same through line. This all could have been avoided if we had been honest about what we did and who we are, and we just couldn't do it. We put our faith into people like Ducat instead. So that's just incredible long-form storytelling, and I have to applaud it on a character, narrative, world building. It hits every single note exactly correctly right. That's my best.
Fantastic. Okay, Jarok, what have you brought for us?
I can show you my rating code.
Schiller rating 3.5.
Associational rating norm -3.
That's much too low a rating.
Just not accustomed to seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
Every week he shows us the same thing. Never mind. Rating code. Dan, it is your turn, since it was your draft, to pick our Schiller rating for this week. What have we got?
Gentlemen, how many glorious Cardassian proficient service medallions?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's very
Proficient
good.
at what? Slaughtering them.
I think it's the same kind of ceremony when they get the swimming certificate as well. Okay, reverse snake again. We're going to finish on Dan stars.
So yeah, I was wondering, like, that trailer, man, was such dog shit. Like, it really made me doubt one of the best episodes of DS9. Yeah, there are problems with, like, you know, like the actor who plays the Bajoran assassin. Yeah, it loses a bit of intensity whenever it leaves the room where, you know, Kira and Maritza are having it out. Yeah, you could have done more with the Galatet survivors, or if you're going to include them, but they're not doing anything with them, you might as well just take them out. All these little nitpicks, and, you know, Terry Farrell, like, you know, not giving a great performance, and Bashir just being there to deliver medical exposition, his usual stilted season 1 fashion. But who the fuck cares? It's all about the bits, and it's all about the room where it happens. And it's two actors in a room talking, and guess what? I love it every time. Sci-fi is nothing but people talking about the future. That's why it's science fiction. It's talking about the human condition. It's talking about the greatness in people's souls and the evil in people's souls, like the ability to forgive, the ability to compartmentalize, the ability to rationalize, the ability to strangle your guilt until finally it resurfaces and strangles you right back. It's so many tones of the human condition. I have to give this, I pre-rated 9.5. I'm going to up it a notch to 9.75 glorious Cardassian proficient service medals out of 10. This episode is amazing.
Auto.
I like when they pull real life parallels into Star Trek. Believe it or not, I like Yankee Traders and Counting Coup from TNG season 1. You know, and sometimes they're in the middle of goofy or dog shit episodes, but I actually like that they pull the historical parallels. This does make me think of World War I. I think on the low end, the estimate was 10,000 suicides after the Nazis lost the war. Most of them because they feared reciprocity. Partly for other reasons that I won't get into now. And if you try to think about it logically, would he go to all this effort, all this obfuscation to do it? Maybe. But I like that they do the parallel. The guilt drives him to those extremes, and that we see that it is not at all unrealistic based on our own past. So I pre-rated this a 4, and then a 1, and then a 12. Which, as we all know, averages out to... do I give too many 10s, or do I just love Star Trek more than the rest of you? This is a 10.
No, I love it
All right,
more.
Shy. All right, Shy.
This is a 10 glorious Cardassian proficient service medallions out of 10. It would be a 10 if it were 20 minutes long and they cut all the non-Maritza stuff. In fact, it might even be better without that. He is, you know, I hate declarative statements because I always eat my words afterwards. I'll say he's a top 3 all-time guest star. I want to say number 1 because nothing off the top of my head comes into frame, but he's definitely top 3. He brings out the best in Kira in a way that she may never see again in Deep Space Nine. I don't know why they stick her with such flat, boring characters, but they're good together. I like that. Yeah. She doesn't catch those things in the investigation. The rest of her friends have to, because she just can't Like I said, it's 42 minutes of her not wanting to believe what's right in front of her eyes. It's excellent storytelling, excellent acting. It's a morality play. It's everything you want in Star Trek. No big effect shot though. Sadly, no goofy
No explosions at the
green
end.
green glow filling the screen or anything. That would have made it an 11.
Okay.
I
yeah. I really like this episode. It's so good, and I think, like Stars, I can forgive a lot of the stuff around the edges. Yeah, you got to pay your actors their union rates, and they need to appear in this episode, even if it is a case of like Chief O'Brien going, "Yeah, I've set up your Scale Electric set. Right, I'm off to go film something in Ireland right now." And there is another recurring plot line with Dealer, the Bajoran assistant he's with. She was supposed to be more of a recurring character leading into the next episode in the Hands of the Prophets, where it turns out she's a bit of a sort of Bajoran traitor after all. There's a lot of other things in here as well. I don't care for that Bajoran in the cell. He's just very cheesy. It's a bit just a sort of a hammy presentation of a more deeper symptom. I don't like the analyzing image scene, but fine. They're going to do stuff like that because you've got to have a Star Trek in there somewhere. But it is these two in this room, and it is just such a monumental force when you can just be, the guys were telling me off because while we're watching it, it's like, no, shut up, Idol. This is the really good bit, and I'm trying to I'm going to be an idiot right now. But yeah, it is stunning, and I'm going to go for a solid 9.5. Glorious medals for proficiency in writing records or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's a top tier, and like you say, he's a top tier guest. He's like most of the Cardassians are up there for that. Like I mentioned earlier, Jarok as well. You've got anyone that comes in an alien figure and presents our humanity in the worst way as a inevitable sympathetic character is always just going to elicit a huge amount of just awesome story work. So yeah,
I would like to recommend. It is long, so maybe it wouldn't be worth it. Like I say, Harris Yulin shows up in 24. I think it's season 2. You'd have to double check. He plays a very similar character. Is he part of the conspiracy? Is he not? And they effectively interrogate/torture him. And you have to figure out, is he telling the truth? Is he really this guy? And so if you like his turn in this, you'd probably enjoy him in that. It also has Michelle Forbes and I think one or two other Trek alum in that season. Yeah. So it might be worth your time.
Dan, bring us to our logical conclusion.
Yeah. Well, I'll first off by, again, so we've given Nana Visitor her flowers, and we've spoken very highly of Harris Yulin, but I just want to say how involved he was in so many of the things that I loved formatively. He shows up in Ghostbusters too. Again, just a really small part, but just an unforgettable scene. The Scolaire! I just gave him the chair. It's the same. It's the same, but so different. He was in X-Files and Rush Hour. He was just everything that I loved as a kid. He just wound up just randomly showing up, and so when he shows up here, it was impossible for me to recognize him behind the makeup, but in hindsight and just seeing him in so much over the years and revisiting old media like this is a great way to rediscover old actors like that. So really glad to have him carry this episode in a way that we don't see a whole lot of guest stars get the ability to do. So that's wonderful. It's an episode that's a little congratulatory to humans again. So we've got the two different races that are very portrayed, at least initially, as very one-dimensional. They find some common ground, but again, she calls him a man at the end, not a Bajoran or Cardassian, but referring to the humans. And in this episode, both the Cardassians and the Bajorans are very bigoted still, and understandably so. But then we've got the contrast with all the members of the station trying to help out and keep a balanced hand, and Sisko playing ever the mediator, speaking very forthrightly with Ducat, and just trying to keep the peace. And so we've got again just a little bit of patting on the back of look how much we've gone through as humans, and here's a direct allegory to something that's happened in our history, and look how much better we are now. So that for this episode was kind of a sour note, just to kind of use as a scapegoat these other races, to kind of tell the worst of what we've gone through in our own past. But again, this is a conceit of sci-fi that we look through these other races, and use them as the lens to analyze ourselves. So intentional, sure. racism is not an old concept in Star Trek, and I think they've handled it very well here. But again, it's one of those episodes that mystifies me because it just seems like there's no production notes on this. Usually you get an episode sent back. Oh, we just need an explosion. Give us something. Give us a phaser fire. Give us something for the teaser. And there's just none of that in the entire episode. And I'm sure they're saving money, but at the very least, even in Next Generation, they took what was one week the Zebelian freighter, and now it's the Grebnid log for the Packlegs to fly on. And they 8 different times they use just cut to the Star Trek 3 Klingon bird of prey again. We'll use that same crap again that we used a million times. But they don't even bother to do that. Not even a flashback scene. It's just remarkable to me that this episode was even made and stands alone and remains to this day. Well, the one little bit of trivia I found, and that's something I reflected on early on about this episode, is that there's really not a whole lot of interesting trivia about this one, because it's just such a very tight bottle episode, just a dialogue really. It's just a one-act play. And so there's just not a whole lot to really draw upon. But the one thing that stands out is just how highly Renee and Nana revisiting this episode, how highly they speak of it as one of their favorites of all time. And the other thing that kind of gets me is, there's really an absence of Harris Yulin reflecting on this. Like I figured, at least somebody would have asked him a question at some point about this episode, and we don't really get, I think, a whole lot on that. Otto, do you want to correct me here? Or
no, I just find that interesting.
Yeah, it's just, I was really hoping to find, just something about him or on him or an interview with him, and there's just nothing. It's just what a huge outsize memory I have of Deep Space Nine based on this episode and this character in particular, and how little there is apart from the episode itself. Yeah. So it has to stand on its own, and it does. And for that, it's a 10. It's just how can you possibly give any fewer proficient service medallions to any glorious Cardassian than 10 for such an immaculate and exemplary filing system as this episode portrays. So.
Excellent.
I mean, I'd rather have an episode or half of it is like a 10, and then the other is like not great versus 8s across the board. Because the point of sci-fi is to make you think, make you feel. If you can do that at the maximum at any point in the episode, it has an outsized impact on your memory. I didn't get to watch DS9 growing up. I didn't have it recorded anywhere. We didn't have cable or whatever. And so this is one of the very few episodes I have a memory of as a child, where even if you can't digest it, you understand its importance.
Well, at the end of that, this is now rated as our 6th highest episode so far, with a 9.8, scoring exactly the same as, I say 6th highest, it's in that bracket there, along with scoring exactly the same as Night, exactly the same as the Magnificent Ferengi, exactly the same as the Siege of AR-558. Just lots of other good DS9 episodes. Not quite as good as Family, not quite as good as Chain of Command Part 2, but just about beating The Ultimate Computer and Terrarium from Strange New Worlds Season 3. So, yeah, we've rated a banger here, guys. It's a good one. Okay, thanks everyone for watching us.
I look forward to seeing Otto fall apart about the Magnificent Ferengi every time we rate something very highly. I look forward to it. It's so much fun.
It's not that good. It's good. It's not.
It's 9.8.
Best Star Trek has ever
rated it quite highly.
I gave it a 9.15. I know.
Yeah. Hang on. If I go down to the Magnificent Ferengi, Otto, yeah, you gave it 9.1. Yeah, it's up there. We had our wonderful esteemed Overtired come and give it a 10 as well. So, hey, if our number one guy in chat is wrong, then I don't want to be right. Anyway.
Loving you is wrong.
Okay, anyway, we'll be back on Wednesday with something. I don't know what yet, but we'll be there. If not, we've got a duology coming up the next Saturday, and I imagine we'll have some more Star Trek Smackdown coming up at some point. Keep an eye, if you haven't already, go and vote on our Discord for our charity pick, and go watch a little 5-minute video where we go through our picks and have your say in who we're going to support for this year's charity show happening on May the 2nd. So put that in your diaries. It's going to be a fun few hours of entertainment and raising money, which, promise should be good. From myself, from everyone here, live long and prosper. We will see you next time, and ta-ra.
So, this is what we've decided. Lisa gets you Tuesdays and Fridays. I get you Mondays and Thursdays.
We, alternate Wednesdays and weekends.
Hold on, I don't think I'm old enough to hear this kind of thing. Ladies, good day. Romano, good luck. You can return my car in the morning. If you can still drive, I'm taking the bus.